All right, so a little bit ago I watched Command and Conquer. Is it Command and Conquer? Yes, Command and Conquer. I watched a Command and Conquer video that pretty much explained the timeline of what is Tiberium and how it came to be on the planet, what it was, basically intended for, what it became, everything like that. And one of the governmental factions was named the GDI, or Global Defense Initiative. Now, I asked for more like this, and in the staff office, Real Gamers MBR put something down he wanted me to take a look at, and this is the Templin Institute's video on the GDI. So we're going to go ahead and check this out. I know what I saw in that one video. I did not play the games, and now I'm going to learn a little bit more here. But, geek knowledge, let's go.
Welcome back, Commander.
The course of human history was forever altered in 1995 by two seemingly innocuous and unrelated events. The first was the impact of a small meteor near the river Tiber in Italy. The second was the formation of a limited peacekeeping force to operate under the mandate of the United Nations. What few could have predicted was that by the latter decades of the 21st century, an alien substance present within the Tiber meteor would have spread unchecked across the globe, threatening environmental catastrophe and the extinction of humanity. Fewer still could have realized that this crisis would precipitate transforming the United Nations Global Defense Initiative from a minor military formation to mankind's first world government. Founded by the member nations of the G7 with the support of Russia, India, Australia, and Brazil, the Global Defense Initiative was intended to encourage mutual cooperation and ease rivalries left over from the Cold War. Major holdouts included the People's Republic of China and portions of the Balkans and Middle.
It would be so nice if we could do that in the real world. It would be so nice if we could get over the Cold War in the real world. But we always have to have an enemy. And then annoyance and irritation and catastrophe happens.
East, which had instead fallen under the influence of a quasi-terrorist organization and supranational entity known as the Brotherhood of Nod. Reducing the international influence of Nod, and in particular countering its destabilizing efforts in the Third World, would be a major focus of the nascent GDI. The earliest GDI personnel, therefore, constituted special forces drawn from previously classified units, notably Special Operations Group Echo and Black Ops 9. As the impact crater of the Tiber meteor was investigated, the extraordinary properties of an alien substance it carried that would become known as Tiberium was slowly understood. Its uncontrollable spread across every region on Earth and the immense mineral wealth it generated was of great concern to the United Nations. On their order, the GDI moved to secure every Tiberium reserve to prevent its proliferation by Nod or other terrorist organizations. The global competition for Tiberium between the GDI and Nod quickly escalated into the First Tiberium War. In campaigns across Africa and Southeast Europe, the two sides engaged each other directly, and the GDI's capabilities and responsibilities were regularly broadened to meet the demands of the escalating conflict. After 3 years of fighting and numerous public relations disasters engineered by Nod, the Global Defense Initiative ultimately achieved victory, seemingly killing Nod's mysterious leader, a man known only as Kane, during the Battle of Sarajevo. With the Brotherhood fractured and GDI agents controlling many of its splinter organizations, the attention of the United Nations turned again towards Tiberium, which had spread uncontrollably during the war. Earth's natural biosphere was slowly being transformed by the substance, with entire regions now unrecognizable following contamination by even trace amounts of Tiberium.
It's a statement really on the nature of invasive species, because this is, I mean, it shows it as a mineral rock, but at the same time, species that have been introduced into environments that were not meant for it, that it didn't evolve in, have this kind of effect. One of the worst things that I saw when I was growing up was something called the snakehead. It's a fish it's a predatory fish in, I think, South America, and it got introduced to North American freshwater lakes. And it became an absolute menace. It's irresponsible people that create these kinds of problems, and it seems like this whole game was based off that premise of introducing not really a species, but a thing that was not basically what caused this kind of problem. I know I'm rambling. Shutting up, moving on.
Preoccupied with this looming ecological disaster, the Global Defense Initiative was unprepared when resurgent Nod forces, reunited following the reappearance of Kane, launched a vast offensive against GDI positions worldwide. The Second Tiberium War would be a repeat of the first, with Nod again defeated and Kane seemingly killed, but at the cost of further Tiberium contamination and the continued deterioration of Earth's environment. Worse still was information obtained during the war, which seemed to indicate that Tiberium had been directed to Earth deliberately by some outside, extraterrestrial power. By the mid-21st century, Earth had been divided into 3 distinct zones indicating their level of Tiberium contamination and ecological damage. Ranked in severity from blue, yellow, and red, these zones redefined world economic, industrial, military, and political power. Traditional nation-states buckled and collapsed under the immense societal pressure exerted by the spread of Tiberium,
Makes sense.
forcing the Global Defense Initiative to assume more and more authority.
I've always liked this guy as an actor. He's been in Starship Troopers. He's been in a lot of stuff, but I've always liked him as an actor. It amazes me how many actors they got in this. I've recognized a few. There was the guy that played. Oh my God, I'm gonna hurt myself if I don't remember this name. He played, and it's completely Adama. The guy that played Adama in Battlestar Galactica. You got this guy. You got James Earl Jones. If you have the voice of Vader in your game, I don't care. I'm liking it.
Becoming a de facto worldwide superstate by 2047. The Third Tiberium War began that same year, sparked by a nuclear attack on the space station Philadelphia, which served as the GDI's capital and the headquarters of its military command structure. Forced by slashed budgets to reduce its conventional military forces in the preceding years, the GDI was initially overwhelmed and reliant on its orbiting ion cannons to hold back Nod's advance. During one ion cannon strike on rebuilt Nod facilities in Sarajevo, the GDI inadvertently ignited a vast store of liquid Tiberium, clandestinely stored beneath the city by Kane. The resultant explosion decimated large swaths of Eastern Europe and attracted the attention of the alien Skrin, believed to have originally seeded Earth with Tiberium half a century earlier. While possessing highly advanced technology, the Skrin was seemingly unprepared for such fierce resistance on Earth. Despite tremendous losses and the continued machinations of Kane, both the extraterrestrial invaders and the Brotherhood of Nod were defeated, driven off-world and underground, respectively. Despite its victories in the Tiberium Wars, the campaigns against Nod and the Skrin had exhausted the GDI's ability to reverse the worst effects of Tiberium. The conflict had only served to further provoke the spread of the extraterrestrial substance and hasten its effects on both Earth and mankind. In 2062, the extinction of humanity was estimated to occur in no more than a decade, as even the blue zones, the last centers of civilization, were gradually overtaken by Tiberium.
Wow.
Driven to desperation, the leaders of the Global Defense Initiative agreed to the unthinkable, an alliance with Kane and the Brotherhood of Nod to construct a worldwide Tiberium control network. Once completed, it was believed this network would not only stop the further spread of Tiberium, but safely refine the deposits already on Earth into a source of limitless energy. Divisions within both GDI and NOD would threaten to disrupt the project before its completion and cast both sides into a civil war. But despite these efforts, the network was completed and activated in 2077.
Nice. Everybody
Kane
gets
and his
along.
followers vanished, while all across the Earth, Tiberium deposits receded, blue zones were restored, and the Global Defense Initiative left as the sole planetary superpower on Earth. The GDI's unlikely evolution across its history means the organization has existed in a variety of different forms.
Okay.
When it was first established on October 12, 1995, it was limited to a single combined arms battle group operating under the authority of the United Nations and led by a single brigadier general. By the end of the First Tiberium War, it had become something more akin to a unified worldwide military, completely absorbing the former national armed forces it was initially intended only to support.
So basically, the government system of the GDI is more of a military autocracy than anything else. Okay.
The continued degradation of Earth's environment and the collapse of the international system forced the United Nations to repeatedly expand the GDI's mandate until it had achieved the political, economic, scientific, and military unification of Earth's nations. In this form, the GDI had...
There's somebody else. Oh God, what is her name? What is her name? Oh my God, I'm gonna beat myself in the head. Another Battlestar Galactica actress.
Transitioned from a multinational task force to an emergency military government. Military institutions were merged with UN divisions to form a provisional executive branch, headed first by the United Nations Security Council, and later by a council of directors once the last remnants
Is that Lando Calrissian?
of the UN were dissolved. While outwardly dedicated to protecting the civil liberties and political freedom of its citizens, the GDI was forced by the Tiberium crisis to operate without an established legislative branch or standardized judicial system. Instead, the organization relied upon a unique form of martial law, with local military commanders granted the authority to make both military and political decisions.
Yeah, so I was thinking that this might be... It's essentially a military dictatorship, but a lot more polite.
Highly militarized, the Global Defense Initiative embraces a doctrine focused on technological sophistication, overwhelming force projection, and a combined arms approach.
Ow.
Through the use of heavy tanks and mechanized walkers, GDI forces can break through enemy formations while supported in the air by the legendary Orca series VTOL aircraft. The pinnacle of GDI military technology is the ion cannon, a space-based weapon of mass destruction capable of destroying targets with pinpoint accuracy. As screen technology has been reverse-engineered, the Global Defense Initiative has increasingly deployed stratospheric aircraft, the first step in what will likely become an orbital navy. Through the triumphs of its military forces has come the opportunity to finally restore the liberty and freedom that the GDI fought so hard to defend. The energy provided by the Tiberium control network and the disappearance of Kane has the potential to propel mankind into a new golden age, one that takes it beyond the confines of Earth and into a waiting galaxy. But the GDI has learned at great cost never to fall into complacency. Kane may have vanished, but he has done so many times before only to reappear once again. The Skrin's plans for Earth may have been defeated, but who can promise they are not still out there, waiting for another chance to strike? There remains the possibility that Earth was but a single target amongst countless billions, and that when the Global Defense Initiative takes its first tentative steps into the wider galaxy, it will find nothing but decimated worlds, seeded with Tiberium by the Skrin or others, awaiting those with the will and power to command and conquer.
I like it. That would be an interesting Stellaris campaign.
Attention Institute personnel.
There we go.
We hope you've enjoyed our first episode back and the new voice of the Institute. To celebrate our long overdue return, I'm going to be streaming Command & Conquer.
There we go. Okay. I think that would be a very interesting Stellaris run to do as the survivors, like the GDI in Command and Conquer, going out into the stars. I think that would be a very interesting Stellaris run. I didn't learn much from this except for what happened after the Third Tiberium War and the War with the Skrin. Because I didn't know about the rest of that stuff. I don't know if that was stuff that was left out of the video or I just forgot it. I'm getting old. This kind of thing happens. But, yeah, I didn't learn much from this that I didn't learn from the other video. But it was a good standalone on its own. A different presentation. But, I enjoyed it nonetheless. Not only that, I am surprised by the amount of actors that decided to be in this game. I really am. It actually surprises me how many were in there. I can't remember that her call sign in Battlestar Galactica. I cannot remember it, but she flew around an ECM support craft. And if you guys haven't seen the early 2000s remake of Battlestar Galactica, please check it out. Be sure to watch the There's a 2-hour special and then the series starts, and the 2-hour special is probably one of the best pilot things that I've seen in a very long time. And I can't believe people were actually upset they were redoing it. It kind of jumps the shark in the middle of the 3rd season and the 4th season. But what can you do? In any case, that's it for me. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And if you'd like to support the channel, there's a Patreon down below. And if you'd like to make a request, go ahead and join in the Discord and jump in the Request for Reactions channel and pop in your request there. In any case, I'm going to run. I got more stuff to check out today. I'll catch you guys next time. One of the fun things about doing this is every single time I put something in the processor, depending on the link, it's either going to get done before or after so nothing's in order. Why am I even saying this? I'm an idiot. You guys know this. Catch you guys next time.